You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn live here on Business Talk Radio and social media. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am a certified life and career coach. Our show today is all about hope, inspiration, and stories of overcoming adversity. And with me today is a person who has accomplished so much, and she's also overcome her own adversity. Let's welcome to the program, Martha Krejci. Hi, Martha.
Hey.
So you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate being here.
You look so full of life and your face is glowing, a beautiful smile. I'm happy to see that. I read some exciting news today that you have some book deals that you've just closed. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's crazy. We live in surreal times right now.
Well, I think one thing that we definitely can say is that you're an example of it. If you put yourself out there, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible.
Yeah. That's true. Absolutely.
So you are an author, you're a professional speaker, you are a Rainmaker, you're a sales and marketing trainer. Can you talk to us a little bit about your career before we get into overcoming adversity?
Yeah, absolutely. So my career as it stands right now, where I'm at, I'm a business strategist overall with everything. It all roots itself in strategy, right? And that's kind of I treat it like a Rubik's Cube. And whenever I look at business strategy, I look at, okay, how are we going to be able to communicate the message of what this company or what this personal brand delivers in a way that people can understand how it changes their life and how it makes their life better, right? So I choose not to even work with people that don't make people's lives better. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're just chasing dollars or something, like I choose not to even work with those folks anyway. I work with people that are here to change the world and here to be of service to other people in some capacity. So that is where my business strategy comes into play. And then recently I've created or launched, it's been, about a year ago now, but I launched something called HBR, which is Home-Based Revolution, which basically is showing people how to create multiple income streams in service to their community. So they're able to, so they don't feel slimy and skeezy and weird and salesy, but they are still creating and designing their own life and able to create, like I said, income streams around that, around serving their people. And so they don't have to work at their job 40, 60, 80 hours a week just to come home and then be tired, stressed out, depressed, anxious, nervous, all of these things that happen whenever, quite frankly, we're living a life kind of severed or cut off from our family or from our roots. I feel like that's what happens to us as human beings. Whenever we do too much of that, we sort of just get into this depressive state. So they can work from home, develop these multiple income streams, and have their kids watch them do it. So then their kids have a file for what that looks like, and now their kids know what's available for them. It's just a whole thing. So that's what HBR is, and that's what I do.
Wow, that is truly incredible. And we have a comment here from Vanessa. Amazing. It truly is. Thank you for watching the program, Vanessa. And actually, thank you for introducing me to Martha. It's I love networking. It's a beautiful thing. So I really like the fact that you've defined for yourself and for your branding and your company who it is you're going to work with. So you're only going to work with people who are all about helping other people, not people who are capitalists and just chasing the dollar.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I stay far away from the others.
That's kind of boring, right? When people are just talking about making money and money, and not about the greater good.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's not even, it's like, it's boring. Yes. But it's gross to me. Like there's a part of it that's just taking advantage of people. And so there's this capitalistic side of things where yeah, they make money. And like, that's all that they're focused on. But in the meantime, what they're doing is they're making a bunch of money, but essentially they're taking it away from other people. And I'm not saying that like it needs to, be spread out. I'm just saying like, whenever we're making money, we need to be turning around and putting it back into the community. So people that are just focused on making money and keeping money, then that's where I'm like, man, it's making money, but then it's also making sure that that we're tithing back into the community is the way that I talk about it.
Yes, that's really terrific. That's how I feel too. It's about leading with love, leading with kindness, leading with your heart. And I know you're all about that. So I can't wait to hear about these books these book deals that you have. Amazing. Do share.
Oh my word. I mean, what in the world? This is from a girl who hasn't even published her first book yet.
Wow.
Right? Like I have friends that have had, multiple book deals, but their first book was self-published. And they're like, do you know what this means? Because I'm sitting here like, what's going on? Right. And they're like, do you understand what this means? And so I haven't even published the first one. It's going to be Home-Based Revolution. It's the same concepts that are in my signature program. Of course, they're higher level, but they're the concepts, right, of how to be able to break free from the corporate world and be able to actually have these multiple income streams, right? So it's all about home-based revolution. And then in the others, because whenever they read the first one, they were like, okay, you got 3 more in you? And I'm like, sure, right? Because I can talk all day long. So I'm pretty sure if I can talk all day long, I can also make books, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill down on some different concepts that are in the first one. So then the next books are going to drill down. And one of them is going to be sort of like my soul satisfying book, the one that's going to talk about, it's almost like a memoirs, the one that brought me from like late teens to now, because there was so much resistance. So many seemingly bad things happened between then and now that actually have just forged me into a better human and forged me into a human that can have compassion on all sorts of different types of folks, because I've been there. And so that's going to be one of them as well. So.
Sounds so exciting. And I love the fact that you shared that you haven't written a book and now you're going to be doing 4. And I think that's just the beginning for you, actually.
Oh, thank you. I'm so thankful that somebody, there's something special about speaking life over people. And that's what I'm seeing from this publishing group. It's Simon & Schuster, but I'm
pretty big, by the way.
What's that?
They're pretty big. Everybody knows who they are.
You're good. They got a name. They got a name, right? But what I'm experiencing is them, and to see it from a big corporation like this, speaking life over somebody like me, right? Because that's what they're doing, is they're saying, we see so much value in you. We see that you need to be brought into this world. We see that people need to experience more of this, right? And it's such a beautiful thing to see from a big corporation, because a lot of times people's experience with big corporations is trying to take your money and trying to sort of like take you through the ringer and that sort of thing. And I've had nothing but a fantastic experience thus far. It's been extremely graceful and it's been a great experience. So.
That's wonderful. And you deserve that for all the good that you're doing in the world.
Oh, thanks.
We have more comments. Vanessa loves it. Thank you, Vanessa. And Andrea, love this.
Aww.
Fantastic. And Vanessa again. Wow. Yes. So, Martha, I know that you were in the corporate world and you had walked away for a specific reason. I wonder if you could take us back to that time and what was going on with you then.
Oh my word. Yes. I imagine that anybody any woman specifically, and probably men as well, are going to be able to understand what this feels like, and I'm going to share it with you. So whenever I was in corporate America, I was working my way up through the ranks, as you're told to do, right? Like that's you. The entire goal is to always go up, 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 right? I had my eyes on like VP of things, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, I could totally get into this space. And as I was working up, I was in sales and I did really well at that. And then I got into management and I did well at that. And then one day, first of all, when I went from sales to management, you take a pay cut. For those of you that don't know, when you go from sales to management, you take a massive pay cut. Okay, so there's that. But whenever I remember one day I was sitting at my desk and my phone buzzed, and I was at a place where it was technically a calling floor. Okay, so I couldn't take my phone out on the calling floor for sensitivity things. So I had to take my phone into the bathroom. So I had to get up, went in the bathroom to go see what this message was about. It was my husband messaging me. Okay, and I went in and I looked at the video. It was a video, and I kid you not, it was my daughter taking her first steps.
Oh, wow.
And everything in me, it just, I felt so guilty. Everything physically that was happening to me was that my vision was blacking out from the outside in. I was getting like tunnel hearing. It was like in a movie where everything stops around you. It's almost like the person is still talking, but everything else has stopped, right? And
Right.
that's where I felt like that was me in that moment. And it was like time stopped, and there was some sort of like God voice that just said, are you okay with this? And it's not right or wrong, right? No judgment for people that work, choose to work in that. It's not right or wrong. It's, are you okay with this? Because this is just a microcosm. It's a benchmark. It's a touch point of something that we're going to keep experiencing over and over and over again. Right now, it's her first steps. What's the next thing going to be, right? What's the next thing going to be? And it was basically just a microcosm of me missing my daughter growing up, is the way that I was looking at it. And I, like many parents in the corporate world, didn't have sick time because I used it all the time, right? I didn't have any sick time, so I was literally just stuck there. I was stuck like a caged animal in this cubicle, because I went and sat down again because I had to. I was stuck in this cubicle. I see these carpeted walls next to me, right? And I'm just sitting there thinking like, I gotta get out of here. And here's the deal is we had just bought a new house. It was not just my family living in that house, but it was my husband's parents living in that house too, because my husband's dad had just lost his job because the place where he was working had just gone out of business. Okay, so, and he was in his 70s. He's not going to go look for a new job, and he shouldn't have to. So they were moving in with us, and we were all living in this house together that I was the sole provider for. Okay, and then I was like, I got home that day, and I was like, here's the deal, Mike, who's my husband, not just some guy. So I was like, listen, I can't do this anymore. I have to quit. I have to quit my job. We've got everything that we need. We know digital marketing, right? Like we can start our own thing and be able to do just fine. Okay. And my husband, so you see me and you hear me, right? And I'm very like, wow, like excitable, right? My husband is basically the guy that holds the string to my balloon, right? He keeps me grounded. He keeps me from flying away. He's the ones and zeros. He's the, okay, but what about this? Okay, but what about that? Like that's him all day long, grounding force. And so typically, like I was all prepared for this. Typically what he would have said would have been like, well, oh my gosh, how are we going to afford insurance? Oh my gosh, we just bought this house. How are we supposed to afford this house? Da, 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 da. That typically would have been what he said. But here's what actually happened. What actually happened is he said, if you don't do this, you are doing yourself and everybody around you a disservice. Wow. And I said, holy moly. Because that to me is it was so out of character for him that it was like divine to me, because it was just so different that I was like, this is something I definitely do need to do then. And then we started our agency the next weekend, and never skipped a beat. Within that very first month of starting the agency, we picked up enough business that it covered my paychecks and more. So we were always okay for forever and ever, amen. We were totally fine. So thank goodness for that. But that's why I exited corporate America, was because I was basically brought to the point of, are you okay with this? Are you okay with missing these pieces of your daughter's life? And quite frankly, I wasn't okay with that. That wasn't, it wasn't my soul's desire, right? I wanted to be able to not only be at home with her, but I wanted to show her a different way. I wanted to show her that she gets to choose what life's like, that she gets to call all of the shots, that she doesn't have to do what somebody tells her, what some sort of grand narrative tells her that she needs to do in life. But rather she can show up in service, take care of people, and she gets to call the shots. And I couldn't do that from the position I was in because I wasn't doing that. So
now there's a story of inspiration. I can see you in the cubicle with the carpeted walls and the walls are coming in on you. I've got to get out of here. Congratulations. That's outstanding.
Thank you.
Imagine if you hadn't gotten that video. I bet you still would have gotten out of there at some point, but
probably.
Think of the people out there watching and listening to the show who are in that carpeted cubicle, who want to get out and they just don't have they haven't come to the decision to make that first step. There's a story that can inspire so many. So thank you for sharing that. That was really beautiful.
Of course. And I would just love to speak to those people for a second. Yeah. If they're in the cubicle, like if you're in that space right now and I actually just made you feel worse because you're like, I don't even know what to do. My suggestion is to get quiet. When you get home, get quiet and allow for, I call them nudges. Allow for these holy nudges to happen, these nudges of like, do this thing, do that thing. That is where you're going to be able to start following a path that's going to lead you to your place of service. So, and there's also another way to look at it. And it's just thinking of the thing that sets your soul on fire, that is a way to give back. What are the things that you've done in life that, like maybe there have been things like traumatic things that you have been through that you have made it to the other side of? How can you support somebody else in making it to the other side of that? That is soul satisfying support that you can give to people, and you can be able to actually create a career out of that. So that's just something to think about.
Thank you for sharing that, Martha. Great interview. For those of you out there who want to call in and ask Martha questions, the number to call is 631-730-5468. And as always, we'd love to hear from you on social media. Please feel free to put your comments and we will read them aloud. We are going to take a commercial break and hear from some of our friends who are our sponsors. Stay with us here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAP partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAP partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. We have an incredible guest, which I think we could spend literally hours talking, Martha. Martha Krejci, she is an upcoming author of 4 books. She is a Rainmaker. She's a change agent. She is a professional speaker. She is a business leader and just an all-around amazing person changing the world. So thank you for being here, Martha.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we were talking about your business strategist and your philosophies, and we were talking about why you left your corporate job. I'd like to get into a little bit about the adversity that you've overcome in your life, because as you know, people are out there watching and they're looking at you and you're beautiful and vivacious and full of energy and successful, but they don't know the backstory of where you've been.
Oh my word. Okay, let's get into it. Let's look under the hood here, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the best place to start with this is me post-divorce. So the day after I left my first husband, I woke up in the morning. This is actually the day that I left him. I woke up in the morning. This is when we still lived together. I woke up in the morning. The birds are singing. The light is shining through the windows, and I get out of bed and I go into the hallway, and I'm reminded of the night before by seeing my own blood on the walls. This isn't something that you and I even talked about, but so I have some domestic violence in the background, right? In things that I have been through. That was a day where I was like, okay, this isn't how my life is going to go. Okay. So I've had different points where I've said, no, this isn't how life is going to go. But that was a decision to say, it's not going to go this way for me. But it didn't necessarily get better from that point. So I left him and ended up, I was broke. He was the one who took care of all of the bills. He didn't even want me to work. If I worked, then he was a restaurant manager. So like, if I worked, it would be in the restaurant or something, but really he was the one that was bringing in the money. And so I didn't really have much of a say in anything. And so whenever we broke up, I didn't have anything, like nothing. And so thank goodness somebody let me live in their basement. So I lived in the basement with my dog. And I was an extreme alcoholic. So alcoholism from when we were married, it's not his fault. I'm not blaming alcoholism on him at all. That is me. That was mine. But so I was an alcoholic for a really long time. And then basically whenever we broke up, that got really worse for me. Okay. So I lived in a basement. So what I wanted to take us to was this picture. This girl right here living in a basement with her dog, couldn't afford anything, couldn't afford food for myself. I would buy my dog Hardee's cheeseburgers because they were cheap, and that's all I could afford. And I wouldn't eat, and she would like literally unwrap a cheeseburger and put it in a dog dish. Like, how ridiculous does that even sound? But that's what I did. And because I didn't want her to starve, it wasn't her fault, right? And all the while maintaining this alcoholic lifestyle where all I was doing was consuming alcohol all day long. And then I was a bartender, which isn't a great idea for an alcoholic, just a heads up. So I continued that lifestyle for a while. And all the while that is happening, I also have something that's called extreme panic disorder. Okay. So for anybody that doesn't know what extreme panic disorder is, it's basically panic attacks, but I would have panic, and anybody that hasn't had a panic or an anxiety attack doesn't really understand. They think people are just like stressed out. Is not just being stressed out. Just so everybody is fully aware, it's a lot like this. Let me explain how a panic attack works. First of all, I would have them about 20 times a day at least. And what they do is they work in cycles. So if you get triggered once, then that trigger happens again almost every 20 minutes. So you feel like you're dying every 20 minutes. And here's what it would feel like for me. And different people have them differently, like they refer differently to different people. Mine were like this. My left arm would go numb. Okay. So that already sounds like something else, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I would get a metal taste in my mouth. My ears, I would get that tunnel hearing. And then once all of that started happening, it triggered the panic attack. So then my heart started racing, started going in my throat. And then that's where like I can't breathe. I feel like my throat is swelling shut. Like all of this stuff starts happening and all you're trying to do is stay alive. So it's not even like, hi, can I just thrive at life? And this is awesome. I just wanted to not die, right? Like I was in such a perpetual cycle of trying to not die that mixed with being an alcoholic, mixed with just post-divorce. I mean, come on, that's stressful anyway, right? And not having money. And then I was just about, gosh, what was I, like 29 when all of that was just paramounting. And I remember sitting in the basement of this house. I was drunk, of course. And I had just gone through a panic attack. And I remember just looking at the wall and thinking like, what in the world happened? Like what? You know, I had a great childhood. My parents loved me very much. They gave me all of the things that I needed as a kid. What the heck happened? And then that's where you start getting into like suicidal thoughts. And you're just like, I don't know that I can even turn this around. I don't even know how to turn this around. Because in this world, in this society, we think we need money to turn things around, right? We think we need, well, I need to be able to pay for this and I need to be able to pay for that, to be able to have help, to help me turn around. Like, let's just, where do I even go from here? Who's even gonna like believe in me, right? And at that point, that is where my now husband came into the picture. And when I say speaking life over people, he spoke life over me. I'm trying not to cry right now. He was the guy who saw in me things that I couldn't see in myself. Okay, so what I want for everybody that's hearing this to know is we need to have those people in our lives. And if we don't, if you that are watching this right now or listening to this right now don't have someone like that in your life, please go and search out somebody like that. Okay. It could be somebody in your family. It could be, if you search it out, you're going to find it. Okay. So that's a thing. But, search that out because we need people that are going to speak life over us. Because if I hadn't had somebody like that in my life, I would have continued on the trajectory I was on. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know what was going to happen, right? I didn't know how to get out of where I was. And everything wasn't perfect right away. I'm not saying it was.
Well, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties at this moment, so we will take a quick commercial break and we will be back right after this. Stay with us on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn.
Have you ever tried to build people into a team? Maybe you've tried bowling, or ziplining, or paintball, or pizza making. These events can be fun, and they can make everybody happy for a while. But in the long run, do they really turn people into a team? Now, imagine the members of your team scattered all over the world, working from trains and airplanes, from remote offices, client locations, or working from home. How do you build a winning team when your playing field might be the entire world? With BCAT, we've created the answer. Working completely online, no matter where your people are, we turn them into an engaged and motivated team in 3 simple steps. First, we use the BCAT survey, which they can take online, anywhere, anytime, to reveal the North Star that represents their shared pride in the work they do. Next, we work with your team's leaders and stakeholders to convert that North Star into a role target, an ideal virtual person who represents your team's best self, living its best day at work. With our internet tools, we hang your North Star high in the sky, where everyone on your team can see it, no matter where in the world they might be. Then we guide and help everyone on your team in creating personal plans to align themselves with your team's North Star. We help each of them develop the positive habits that,
day by day, every day, steer them closer to your North Star, aligning themselves with your team's signature dreams and ideals. And over the long haul, we offer programs and coaching techniques that help them stick to their plans. Remote team building isn't hard, it doesn't take long, and it's just as much fun as pizzas and paintball. You build winning teams around a purpose, not a place. BCAT is the answer.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You'll remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. Welcome back, Martha Krejci. We had some technical problems, I guess, huh?
I don't even know what happened. Yes. I guess my internet just died completely.
I think the internet was blown away by your story. I think that's what happened. So
that happens sometimes.
And seriously, I was back here, I had you spotlighted, and I was so moved just imagining, because the way you talk and you share your stories, like I can see you, I could feel you. And I thought, oh my gosh. And then we got up to where your now husband, it sounds like he saved you. And now the show's over. So now we're at the top of the hour. I'm like, what? We need the rest of the story.
Cliffhanger.
Will you come back?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Oh my gosh. This is just right there we were. There he is. But we have,
my word.
We have a show right after it's at 6. I'm really sorry, but I will get back in touch with you to see how we can get you back on here as soon as possible, because everybody out there wants to know what happened. So, so for the best way to get in touch with you, I have the banner going across, but can you share with our listeners on Business Talk Radio how to contact you?
Sure, yeah. So my personal email is martha@alphapom.com, and that's ALPHAPOM.com. And then also just really any social media. So I'm on, I have a YouTube channel, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on all of the places. So really just search my first and last name, make sure the person looks like me, because there are some other people with my name. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I know, but yeah, just make sure they look like me. Yeah, you can always just message me, follow me, watch different videos. I just like to share to be able to help people out. So
that's wonderful. And Martha, for somebody out there who's looking for a coach, someone who has the experience that you have, can an individual reach out to you? Do you work with organizations? Who is your audience really?
Yeah, so I prefer working with families. Like I said, I really like to work with families to be able to provide freedom for them. So, I mean, individuals can reach out to me, but then also businesses, depending on what their business objectives are, feel free to reach out to me as well, because I also love strategy. Like I said, I treat it like a Rubik's Cube. So sometimes I just like a good challenge. So I'm good with businesses too.
That's excellent. Another comment from Vanessa. Love this, powerful and inspiring. Absolutely well written, Vanessa. And thank you so much, Martha. So it's the end of our program. I look forward to seeing you backstage. I'll be there in just a moment. Any final words?
Oh gosh, I would just say, no matter where you're sitting right now as you're watching this, no matter what mindset you're in, things will always be better. So you're on top of the world, things can still get better. But even if you're feeling in the muck, I promise you, things will get better. Just approach life with a sense of service, and everything moves.
Thank you, Martha. That was beautiful. I'll see you backstage in a minute. And thank you to our loyal listeners and viewers. I say this every time because I really mean it. We're building a brand here, a platform for people to speak. And we want to hear from you. If you have some suggestions or you have some feedback about our show, please feel free to reach out to me, Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com. I'm scrolling for my banner here. And I really want to hear from you. So we're also looking for guests and for sponsors. And two more announcements. We have a new platform called A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And we have a team of charter presenters who are people who have an incredible following and a true gift to give back to the world. So we invite you to join us. You can go to my website and sign up for that. Also, because we had so much success with our Wealth of Health events, we're going to have one Wealth of Health event every month. And you can also sign up for that on the website. Both platforms give you an opportunity to present for 15 minutes about something that you think will really resonate with our audience in terms of setting an intention and a focus and helping other people. So with that being said, I hope that you stay around for our next show at 6 o'clock. We welcome Zane Carson Caruth, and she's going to talk to us about etiquette. Until then, stay safe, stay well, take care of yourselves.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.